Hello, welcome everybody who's on Facebook. We're already been on TikTok. So today, on Tuesday, every Tuesday at noon on TikTok Tuesday, we will answer as many immigration questions as we possibly can. So if you have any immigration questions, go ahead and put them in the comments here on TikTok or over on Facebook, and we will begin to answer those questions. And we'll spend however much time it takes to get through the questions that you do have. So today, on Tuesday, is in English. As Raquel was saying earlier to our TikTok viewers, that we also have one on Friday that is in Spanish. So you can choose which one, or if you understand both, you can come join both, because sometimes we have different topics.
Absolutely, and my name is Raquel Fernandez. I'm an associate here in Colley Forsyth. Like Attorney Mercer was saying, we're live on TikTok and Facebook, so if you have any questions on either platform, you can leave them in the comments and we'll be making sure to answer them. So we have a couple of questions on TikTok, and we'll be getting started right now.
Okay, and real quick, I guess I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Mercer Colley. I'm a partner here at Colley Forsyth, and I'm a board immigration specialist here in North Carolina. But because it is federal law, we can practice all over the country, and we can answer questions relating to immigration all over the country.
Yep. And we have some questions here. So first, I do want to share this comment from Blanca. She said she's watching from Barcelona, Spain. So thank you, Blanca, for watching. And thank you to everyone who's been liking the video and sharing. The best way to get this information out there is to share it with people that you know, other people who may be in situations, other immigrants who don't have the answers to the immigration questions. This is why we do it, to make sure that the information is out there. As Attorney Jordan always says, information is power. So it's great to share this and share it with your friends, share it with your family. That way we'll be able to get that word out there.
Absolutely. And part of what drives us, and we say it all the time, is we're here to change lives for generations to come. And so this is a great way for us to be able to do this, is to make sure that you know what your rights are and put you on the right path to be able to achieve what it is that you want to. So that's why we're doing this, and we hope to be able to keep doing this for a long time.
Absolutely. So we're going to get to our first question here, and this person asks, is it true that you need to have money or houses to have a green card?
No, it's not true that you have to have money or houses to have a green card. Part of the green card process, though, typically in most situations, especially family-based, is that you do have to have a financial sponsor. And what that means is that the person that's sponsoring you does make enough money to be able to ensure that you're not going to have to go on any type of government programs. So, for instance, Medicaid. So that's where some money does become involved. So you do have to have a sponsor, and that sponsor does have to make a certain amount of money. So in that regard, yes, you do have to have somebody who can sponsor you. But do you yourself have to have money or have to have houses or anything like that to have the green card? That doesn't have to happen. What has to happen is, like I said, your sponsor has to be able to show that they make enough money.
Yep. And let's say you have a sponsor who's your petitioner, the person who is petitioning for you. That sponsor has to make a certain amount of money, and you can see that it may change every year. So if you go to USCIS.gov/I-864P, you'll be able to see the requirements for each household size. So it depends on your sponsor's household size. It's going to include the sponsor, it's going to include you, and it's going to include any of the dependents or every one of their dependents. So you'll be able to calculate that. Let's say, for example, your sponsor, obviously there's the sponsor, there's you, so that's a household of at least 2. And then let's say they have 2 kids, so that's a household of 4. You'll be able to see if they're not in the U.S. Armed Forces. You go to the part that says 125% of HHS poverty guidelines. So a household of 4, they're going to have to make at least $34,687. So if they don't make that much, then you have to find a co-sponsor. And there are so many different variables there for your co-sponsor. But the best thing to do is to schedule a consultation to first of all see if you qualify, and second, see if you're going to need a joint sponsor or anything else. And that way you're fully informed. So if you want to give us a call for a free consultation, our information is listed here on CF Immigration's page. It's 704-522-6363.
And great information, absolutely. And just one more thing is, if the family member that's petitioned for you has to be a financial sponsor. So they don't have a choice. They have to be a financial sponsor. And that's what Attorney Raquel was talking about, is if that person does not make enough money, you can go get another sponsor. You can get a joint sponsor. But the person who petitioned for you definitely has to be a sponsor as well.
Yep, definitely. And this person also asks, I think his name is Sayan, so hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, but Sayan asks, what does a person really need to get a green card? So that's a very broad question there. So how can someone get a green card generally?
But generally speaking, there are two major ways of getting green cards. One is through a family member that qualifies. And so family members can be spouses that are U.S. citizens or permanent residents, parents that are citizens or permanent residents for children under 21, and also in certain cases for children over the age of 21. And then children can file for their parents as well if they're over the age of 21. So those are some typical categories. Brothers and sisters can also, if it's a U.S. citizen, can also apply, but those take a very, very long time right now. So family is the first way that somebody can get a green card. The second way is through a business. So if you have a job that you're working with, you have an employer that wants to sponsor you, you can get a green card through an employer. And so there are different categories for that as well, but those are the two major ways that people are able to get a green card, would be the family or business. Some of the other ways would be asylum leads to it. U visas eventually could lead to it. So there are some others that have smaller categories, but those are the two big categories where people are able to get the green card.
Yep, and this is very great questions from Sarah. So thank you. She also asks, what kind of questions do they ask you in interviews? So it depends on what kind of interview you're going to be having for your green card. First of all, the best way to do this is, have a consultation to see if you can even, have an adjustment of status. It might be the case that you'll have to do consular processing, where you have to go to the consulate in your country to do it. So we'd have to see which way, if any, would be possible for you, and that way we'll know what kind of interview you'll have, also depending on who's petitioning for you. But she also asks a really great question, and the question is it true that people with mental health problems do not get a green card, or people with mental problems do not get a green card?
Not necessarily. There is a question that relates to, has the person ever been confined involuntarily? So basically what the government's looking is the person a threat to society or a threat to themselves? And if they were at one time, there needs to be proof or evidence that that situation is no longer the case. So that question is definitely there, and I can understand why somebody would ask that question. That you're right, that is a great question. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the person cannot obtain a green card, but if there is any history of mental illness, especially if somebody has been confined involuntarily, there are some additional steps that are going to have to be taken to prove that that's no longer an issue, or that a waiver is available for the person, so that that person can receive a green card.
Yep, great question. We also have a question here from Caesar, and he says, hello, I am a citizen. We got the I-130 denied to cancel my wife's deportation. Can I try to open case?
That's a great question. If an I-130 is denied, typically there are two options. One is to to try to get it reopened. The other one is to appeal the decision to the Board of Immigration Appeals. The third option is you always have the ability to refile. And so at this time, what we typically do is when we have our consultations is we look at all the options and then give you all of the different pros and cons. So some of the pros would be how long it's going to take. Does one process take less time than the other? Is one less expensive? So a lot of things go into it to determine what's your best option. But if the I-130 has been denied, there are several options that are available to you. Now, something else caught my attention when Attorney Raquel was talking is that it sounds like your wife is in removal proceedings. So because of that, there's an urgency that needs to be there because you're able to get a continuance so that you don't necessarily have to do the individual hearing yet, as long as the I-130 is pending. So the fact that she is in removal proceedings means that you need to speak to somebody quickly to make sure that you're covered and that she is covered.
Yep, absolutely. We also have a question here from Ale, and she asks, or she states, 3 days ago, her I-485 was approved, and 4 days ago, her I-130 was approved. What's next? So what is the next step after an I-130 and I-485 approval?
Well, congratulations, first of all. The next step is you should be receiving your green card in the mail, and they've been coming fairly quickly. So I would anticipate if it was approved here last week, you should probably be getting a card here in the next probably week or two. If you have not received a card within 30 days, you need to reach out to the government, reach out to USCIS at that point, because 30 days is a little long. So maybe it was lost in tracking or in the mail or something along those lines. But the next step is to get your green card. So congratulations. And
yeah,
after you've been a green card holder for 5 years, you can apply for citizenship. And if you're married to a U.S. citizen and residing with that U.S. citizen, is 3 years instead of 5.
Yep, that's great news. So hopefully, Ale, any day now, you'll be getting your green card in the mail.
Absolutely. And again, congratulations.
Yeah. We also have, someone says, hi, I need your help. I need a good immigration lawyer. So, Kevin, thank you. Thank you for reaching out. If you'd like to schedule a free initial consultation, you can call 704-522-6363. Phone number is listed right over here on CF Immigration's page, and you can take a little screen grab of that and give us a call. Like I said, the first consultation is free, and we'd be more than happy to answer your questions. As always, a consultation is always the best way to do it, because that way we'll be able to answer your questions and be able to ask the right questions that we need to give you the legal advice. So Cheekies is also asking for information. So Cheekies, the information is right over here on CF Immigration's page. You can also check out our Facebook and YouTube page if you're not already on Facebook. And we'll be sharing this entire video on YouTube in case you missed any of the questions. You guys can check it out on there.
Absolutely. And to Attorney Raquel's point is that we can do this, and we love doing this, actually, coming out and being able to share information, but it's not specific to your case. This is generally speaking. In immigration, a lot of cases are very much dependent upon what the facts are and what the evidence is. So we're not able to give a full consultation on TikTok and on Facebook. So that would be the best way to get it done. But we do want to make sure that you are empowered to know what your rights are. So that's why we do this twice a week, Tuesdays and Fridays at noon.
Exactly. And we have a question here from JC, and he asks, how long does the appeal I-20 or I-290 in Vermont taking? So how long is it taking to appeal I-290B?
Okay, so the 290B is the form that you actually appeal with. So part of it's going to depend on what was denied, because if you're appealing, it's because another petition was denied. Unfortunately, right now, 290Bs, pretty much like everything with immigration, is taking a very long time. So we're seeing 290Bs take well over a year, sometimes up to 2 years. Now, there is a way to, is the 290B, does it show processing times on USCIS?
Doesn't. I just looked it up, but it doesn't come USCIS.
And so because the government doesn't even tell us how long it's taking on USCIS, so we're having to do this by experience and what we've been seeing recently. And that's why I say usually a 290B is taking a minimum of a year, but it can take up to 2 years for a 290B. And that's why we were talking earlier about you may have other options, especially if it's in certain petitions. You may want to consider refiling. Now, there are other petitions such as U visas and adjustment of status through U visas that if those are denied, you may have to appeal and you don't have a choice. But that's how long it's taking right now.
Yep, and you guys can check the case processing times in general. Like Attorney Mercer said, the I-290B doesn't come up on the case processing times for USCIS. But if you have any other petitions that you want to check on, you can go to uscis.gov/processing-times, or you can just Google USCIS case processing times, and you'll be able to see the petitions there. On your receipt notice, it'll say what service center it went to, and you can go to the service center, and you'll see the estimated time.
Exactly, yeah. And just for information, USCIS stands for United States Citizenship and Immigration Services. So it's just abbreviated to USCIS, but it is a part of the Department of Homeland Security.
Yep, and the best way to know if it's an official government website is when it ends with .gov, so that way you're not tricked into some other website. Always make sure that if you're going into a website by the government, that it ends in .gov.
Yeah, absolutely, because they're out there. That .com, .net, other things, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. And I have a question here from Carlos, and he says that he has a deportation case. He's wondering if we can close it before the court date, or if you have to wait until the court date to close the case.
Well, Carlos, that's a great question. Right now, Homeland Security is open to considering closing cases. And there are two different things. One is closing. Administratively close it means that, think of it like this. They take your file, they close it, they put it on a shelf. That can be pulled back at any time. So that's admin closure. But they can also dismiss or terminate the case, and that means it's thrown out of court. So they can't just pull it back. They have, in order to start proceedings against you again, they would have to repaper, send a new notice to appear, and get everything started that way. So those are the two options that are available, and it really comes down to what the facts are. But yes, Homeland Security is open to considering requests to both close and terminate cases, and just depends on the facts of your case.
Yep.
Okay, guys, so I think that's our time for today. So make sure you tune in on Friday for our Spanish Live, and tune into the YouTube video. If you missed out on any of this information, check out the YouTube channel. CF Immigration has the link to all the platforms, and we greatly appreciate all of your support. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you, Attorney Mercer, for taking the time to answer all of these really great questions.
Absolutely. And again, we'll be back coming this next Tuesday. We'll be right back here, and then Friday in Spanish. So thanks, everybody, for joining us. Again, if you want to stay up to date with us so that if we go live on any topics, just go ahead and follow us, and we'll be glad to get information out to you as soon as we get it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.